I see it all the time in Mounjaro Facebook groups, TikToks, and even YouTube. Advice that sounds good, but it's completely wrong, and believing these myths could be the reason that your weight loss has slowed down, stalled, or even reversed. So today, I'm going to be busting the top 10 most common Mounjaro myths, from why more medication doesn't always mean more weight loss, to the mistake that can make you gain all the weight back. So whether you're just starting Mounjaro, on your journey halfway along, or like me, you're 21 weeks in, this video could save you months of frustration and keep your results on track. So let's get into it and roll this week's titles. Hi, I'm Ali, I'm 51, I'm Scottish, and I've been on Mounjaro 21 weeks, and it's mostly a positive experience with a few bumps along the road, but that's to be expected with any medication, isn't it? Nothing's smooth sailing, so if you check this picture of me 12 years ago up above, I'm never going back to being that chunky monkey, that's for sure. This week, as well as myth busting, I'll be weighing in after last week's gain. Let's see if I've managed to pull it back. I put 1.5 pounds on last week, so I'll let you know how I got on. But before we get into this, let's talk about the elephant in the room. So check my video that I posted last night about the huge price hikes that are coming along the way on the 1st of September from Mounjaro. I don't want this news to overshadow my video this week, but it's really hard to stay upbeat knowing that this is coming down the line. Now I've had time to digest it a bit. What am I going to do? Well, I'm getting lots of people saying, why don't you just move to Wegovy? I won't be eligible for Wegovy because I don't have a BMI of over 30 anymore. It's like 24. So they have me over a barrel really. They've got to stay on it or come off it. People have basically taken back their lives with this drug. You know, people who've got obesity. It's just not right. I'm probably going to get another pen from a supplier before the cut-off date because it's another 2.5 weeks away. And I'm going to try and source another pen from another provider just so I can have enough pens to do me till holidays and maybe a bit beyond. And then I'm just going to try and microdose it. And I can afford the 2.5 milligram dose. I'll let you know the price is coming up. But at this stage, I'm kind of just glad I'm not on 15 milligrams like tons of other people. I feel really bad for them. I'll pop the prices from Medicine Marketplace on the screen now. Basically, it's going to be 2.5 is 137, 5 is 178, 7.5 is 215, 10 is 239, 12.5 is 251, and 15 is £271. I was paying £135 for the 5, also the 7.5 and the 10. So this is like £100 increase on the higher doses. So prepare to be shocked. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking of doing. Stockpiling is going to be imminent. People are going to be worried about the price. People are going to bulk buy pens if they can. A lot of companies are saying they're not going to allow bulk buying of pens, and the stocks are going to go through the floor. So it's not good news at all, really, for the Mounjaro community. But thanks for all your comments, as usual. I really appreciate them. Trying to stay upbeat about it all. It is an unknown entity that's coming along. But I'd love to know how you're liking the videos. Hit the bell icon, subscribe. I'm already at 730 subs, I think. Remember, I'm not a healthcare professional, I'm not a GP. This is just my own experience and how I've found Mounjaro, and I'm sharing all my hits and tips with you guys. So yeah, it's hard to go into the video this week, trying to be a bit upbeat, but I'm going to try and do my best. So I'm going to do the 10 myths along with a wee tip at the end of each one. And yeah, let's just get into it. So number one is going to be Mounjaro works no matter what you eat. So this is definitely a myth. It's not just as simple as injecting in your arm, your belly, or your leg, and then you can just eat what you want. If the whole world would be in Mounjaro, if that was the case, yes, it does help reduce your hunger, and if you're eating the calorie dense foods, you're not going to lose weight, or it's just going to slow right down. You've also got things like liquid calories, like alcohol, juices. This is going to sneak in unnoticed. You definitely need to be logging your foods and your calorie intake and stay in a calorie deficit. If you're going to eat dodgy food, like fried food, then you're just going to feel you the next day. Try and stick to, my tip for this is stick to high protein, low carb, and healthy foods. Number two, if I'm not losing fast, the dose isn't high enough. Dose. So weight loss is naturally slow after the initial weeks. That's normal biology. Increasing the dose too quickly can cause nausea, vomiting, other side effects like constipation, dizziness, which I've had. And basically the side effects can increase substantially if you're going to raise up the doses. So sometimes patience is more effective than jumping in, dose after dose and moving up. A lot of the pharmacies will want you to move up a dose, but you don't have to. Hunger pangs are still going to be there, possibly, even if you do move up the doses. So just find a dose that really works for you, is what I'm trying to say. If you're losing on the 5 milligrams, try and stick with it as long as you can, especially with the price hikes coming. Why should you stay on 5 if it's working for you? Remember, once you get to 15, there's nowhere else to go. That's it. And do you really want to be paying £279 for a 15 dose? No. The higher the dose, the higher the cost. So my tip for this one is log your side effects and how you're feeling and how bad's the food noise. You can do it in various apps. I use the Shotzi app, but basically you can then go back and see if something's triggered that you've eaten. And then you can decide after the 4 weeks being on that whether you need to move up a dose. And as your weight coming off, if it is, I would say stick to that dose as long as you can, especially now it's going to be a lot more money. I've lost most of my weight on the 2.5 milligrams. I'm now on 5 and I'm microdosing that. I'm doing 2.5 twice a week. So just you do you, find something that works and stick with it. Number 3 is going to be skipping meals will make the weight drop faster. So Mounjaro already reduces your appetite. Skipping meals may cause you to get too few calories and then you're going to be starving yourself. That's not the way to lose the weight. And sometimes you're going to get things like hair loss because you're not eating enough, you're not getting enough nutrients. You can go into some supplements. I do use supplements as well, along with other people. But low calorie intake is going to slow your metabolism down. You're going to get fatigued. As I said, some people have lost hair on Mounjaro just because they're malnourished, basically. So the tip for that is basically take some nutrient-dense foods and take some supplements if you need to, if you are going to be, very light on the calories. But I would still recommend that you do go to the TDEE website and find out what is good for you on the calories. So basically it'll work out the calories for you, and about 500 calories less than that will mean that you'll lose a pound a week. So budget for your calories in a day, log it all, log your moods, just make sure you're logging everything basically. I log all my foods, how I'm feeling each day, so you can come back to it and compare it, because it's key to keep these factors in check, I think. Number 4 is going to be once I'm on Mounjaro, I'll never hit a plateau. Well, that's not going to be true. Everything is a roller coaster, I think. Yes, I've lost like 18, 19 weeks in a row, but you can easily plateau. You can put on, last week I put on for the first time due to hormonal changes or muscle loss. You're definitely going to lose muscle on this, even though you're eating lots and lots of protein. Some weeks are going to be good, some weeks are going to be bad. You're going to get stressed out at work. You're going to have weeks where you're eating a lot more than you should. So my tip for this one is going to be look for non-scale victories along the way. Things like genes that fit better, how you're feeling in yourself, and you've got more self-esteem. I just think having more self-confidence is really good, especially with getting into like medium clothes. It's great. Number 5 is going to be Mounjaro will keep the weight off forever without any lifestyle changes. Well, now with the prices going up, lots of people are going to be going on cold turkey. Mounjaro is a tool to help you lose weight. It's not the whole toolbox. Habits determine long-term success. So you'll need to change your mindset around food. So yes, it is going to help you, but you're going to have to think, in the long run, once you come off this, learn healthy eating patterns. Weight regain is likely after you stop. So yeah, maybe just build up muscle. I'm going to try and build up muscle and tone once I get to target. And just think end game, basically. What are you going to do once you get to target? Are you going to stay on it? Are you going to come off it? So my tip for this one is think life after Mounjaro by incorporating healthy habits now while you're still on it. Things like keeping up with fitness. I do a 10k steps every day. I run twice a week. Just don't keep junk in the house, because you're just going to be tempted to reach for the bad food when you do come off this. So just stick to the things that you've already learned along the way. Number 6 is going to be, if I don't feel side effects, then it's not working. So this is definitely a myth. Some people I know don't get any side effects. Some people get tons. It's not a measure of effectiveness. It's just reaction to the drug, and everybody's different. Some people, as I said, don't get anything at all, which is great for you guys. But I've had lots of things, cold hands, dry mouth, got that right now. I've had the diarrhea, I've had the constipation, I've had dizzy spells. It's just different for everybody. Some weeks I've had stomach issues, I've had the horrible sulfur burps. And, just stick with how you're doing. Just focus. The tip for this one is think of like portion control, your weight trends instead of symptoms. You could be one of the lucky ones that gets no side effects. So, just stick to what you're doing and it'll carry you through. I promise you will. The weight will come off. Number 7 is going to be, the more Mounjaro I take, the more weight I'll lose. So this is one of the biggest myths. You shouldn't race up the doses. Once you get to the top dose, that's you. You can't go anywhere else. You're not guaranteed to lose weight if you move up the doses quickly. Stick to a lower dose if that works for you. As I said, I lost over 2.5 stone on 2.5 milligrams. You could be on the top 15 milligram dose. It doesn't guarantee you're going to lose weight any more than a lower dose. Higher doses can actually reduce your appetite too much, and that means you're going to risk not getting enough nutrients in. You're not going to be eating. You could get to the point where the suppression is just so high you can't eat at all. So I would definitely say don't race up the doses. I lost most of my weight on 2.5 and now I'm on 5. It's just stick with a dose that really helps you. And the tip for this one is basically that. Stay on the lowest effective dose for your body. it can be a fine balancing act to get that. You know, you want to be toning up, you want to be doing weight training, you don't want to be unwell so bad that you're in bed and having to take time off work because you're just so unwell with the being, the suppression so high. Number 8 is you don't need to drink much water on Mounjaro. Well, GLP-1s basically slow down your digestive system, so you definitely need to have a lot of water, a lot of hydration. It's really important to push through all the toxins in your body and make sure you're not getting constipation. I was getting headaches if I wasn't drinking enough. During the night, I would wake up, I would take some water and it would go away. So just definitely drink a lot of water. It's definitely a key on this. Check your urine as well. If it's dark, then you're not getting enough water. Yes, I'm having to get up twice a night for a pee, but I'd rather that than being dehydrated. I'd say my tip for this one's aim for at least 2 litres of water a day. I take a big water bottle at work and I make sure I drink the whole lot before the end of the day, and log all your calories and log your water intake also in the apps that you use. Number 9 is going to be exercise isn't necessary when I'm on Mounjaro. Yes, well, exercise is going to really boost your weight loss. Yes, you're going to lose muscle when you are on Mounjaro, so it's key to eat enough protein and do enough exercise to boost your muscle gain. So basically I'm going to be doing more and more dumbbells, kettlebells. I do a lot of spin, I do a lot of running, I do a lot of walking, but strength training really needs to be pushed up for me, and I need to get some muscle back because I have lost some, I've noticed, in my body. You guys just need to tone up the muscle. The tip for this is basically if you are struggling to do any kind of exercise, even like doing a wee walk 2 or 3 times a day will definitely boost your weight loss. Some exercise is better than no exercise, so just bear that in mind. And number 10 is going to be I can just stop Mounjaro when I reach my goal weight and I'll be fine. Right, so stopping abruptly without a maintenance plan isn't recommended. My friend came off it cold turkey for 3 weeks and he was climbing the walls. He wanted to eat everything in sight, and he ended up having to go back on at the lower dose than what he was on. I think he was on 10. He had to go back down to 7.5 because the food noise was just back with a vengeance. And then now he's back up in 10 again. It was just like Cookie Monster, wanting to eat everything. So I wouldn't recommend going cold turkey. Think long term, maybe come down the doses right back down to 2.5. Some people transition to a lower dose and stay on it for maintenance for a few months. That's what I'm planning to do. Now the prices have all hiked up, I might just come down to 2.5 fairly soon. It's not ideal, I know. Have a plan in your head anyway for your end goal. Mine's is definitely to come down to that 2.5 and maybe stay on it for maybe a month or 2. Hopefully I've trained my brain enough to come off it altogether at some point and maybe have a zone where I'm 3 or 4 pounds under my weight or over my weight, because I'm wanting to try and maintain to a certain way. I don't want to lose any more after I get to target. So the tip for this one is basically have a post-Mounjaro lifestyle plan. So while you're still on the medication, remember if you come off it for a high number of weeks, you're not going to be able to go back on it unless your BMI goes back up to 30 again. And, nobody wants to regain all the weight. I definitely don't. So my advice is just choose a pharmacy that supports maintenance down to a lower BMI. Mine is 19.5. I'm not going down that low, but do your research, way in advance of when your goal is, and think about it now. So there you go. That is my 10 myth busting tips for Mounjaro. Do you guys have any myths that you hear about all the time? Feel free to share it in the comments. I read all the comments and I reply to every single person. Obviously, tell me what you think about all these price hikes as well, because it's just crazy. If you want to keep your weight loss moving, also watch my other video, which is my top Mounjaro mistakes. I'll pop it in the at the end of the video as well, so you can have a watch of it. It could save you weeks of frustration. So there we go. That's that. Let's change gear now and talk about this week's weigh-in. Well, after last week's 1.5 pound gain, can I be back on a loss this week? Yes, I can. It's a good one. I lost 2.5 pounds this week, so that's a relief. I'm back on track. It's 1.13 kilograms. I'm down to 11 stone 7 or 73 kilograms since March 2025. So just to touch on side effects this week, I did have one bout of the runs. It wasn't too bad. And I have had the sulphur burps quite a bit yesterday while I was running with the club last night. I'm still split dosing the 5, 2.5 twice a week. Seems to be going well. I'm definitely getting less side effects, and I'm just going to stick with it. The dizzy spells have gone away a lot, but they're not gone completely. My main focus is to get rid of these altogether because it's the biggest worry. But let's see what the future holds. I've got another 5 milligram pen, so I'm sticking to this dose just now and see how I fare with it. I will try and get another pen before the prices go up. Let's hope. But thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I know it's really bad news about the price increase. Get your pens ordered now. Get it done this weekend before the cut-off date. It's 1st of September. I'll be back next week with another video. But till then, I'm going to sign off and try and have a good weekend. Bye for now, folks.